Hi everyone, so I'm finally getting around to doing my labour and delivery story. This is my second attempt at doing this. The first time Roman was being a little bit unsettled and I had to keep getting up and getting him, but now he is finally fast asleep, so we'll see how we go this time. So my labour and delivery story starts on August 1st. I had to go to the labour and delivery suite, to the hospital twice a week because my blood pressure was getting too high. So on August 1st, which was the Monday, I gave birth to Roman on the Saturday. So on the Monday, I had my appointment and my blood pressure was high, but they were still kind of happy with it, with the drugs that I was on. But my swelling was getting really bad. My feet were swelling, my calves were swelling, my whole body was just swelling. And it's not until I've given birth and seen how much weight has come off me that I realised how much I'd actually swelled up. And I finally can wear my rings again, which makes me really happy. So yeah, I got discharged because it was just like a day unit thing. I just get your checkup. And then on the Wednesdays, I have my obstetrician appointment because I could no longer see my midwife because of all the drugs that I was on for the blood pressure. So I went to the OB appointment on Wednesday, which was the 3rd of August. My blood pressure was getting higher, which is not good. I was swelling some more, so that was getting pretty bad. And they said that I'd definitely be getting induced and that they'd do it around 38 weeks. Onwards if things stayed stable, but it didn't look like that was happening. Okay, then Thursday the 4th, it was just a normal day at home, and I thought, well, I'm not doing anything. We really need to do some supermarket shopping. Roman could be here in the next 3 weeks. We really need to get this done so we don't have to worry about it when he gets here. So I wrote up a big shopping list, and I texted my sister saying, hey, I'm going into town. Do you want to come with me? She said, yep. I wrote down a big list of freezer meals I was going to make too, which we never got around to doing because he arrived. But it's a fantastic idea, you guys. Seriously, do freezer meals because when you cannot be bothered cooking, you just whip them out, put them in the microwave, and away you go. So anyway, I texted my sister and said, sweet, I'm ready to go. I'll come and get you. I realised that my phone was going a little bit flat. So I got up and quickly just went to put my phone on charge for just a couple of minutes, and then I was going to go get my sister. Well, I got up, walked into my bedroom, plugged my phone in, and then I kind of looked up and the whole room was just kind of flashing like stars, weird flashing lights. And I thought, oh no, this is not good. This is one of the signs that my blood pressure is too high. So I called the hospital, the labour and delivery suite, and I told them what was happening. The lady on the end, she wasn't too concerned. She asked where I lived, and I told her, and she said it was quite far away to come in just for a check if it could be nothing. And I said to her, well, I'm coming in anyway to do my supermarket shopping, and it's probably better to be safe than sorry. I'm just trying to get rid of all the glare. So I went and told my sister, and she was like, oh man, you're probably going to get admitted. And I was like, nah, I won't get admitted, we'll be sweet. But she was adamant that I was probably going to get admitted, so she went back home quickly and grabbed some clothes for her daughter Nevaeh because she was coming along as well. I drove to Palmerston North, got up to the hospital, checked my blood pressure, and it was really high. They said that there's no way that I was going home with that kind of blood pressure, so I was going to be admitted. So my sister was right. So that Thursday, the 4th of August, I was admitted to hospital, and that night I was hooked up to the CTG, I think it's called, where they test your contractions and the baby's heartbeat. So I was on that, and I was woken every 4 hours to get my blood pressure checked through the night. The next morning, they said that my blood pressure was not very good and that I was going to be staying in hospital until my baby was born. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is insane. I said to them, how long could that be? How long am I going to wait? And they said, a week. I thought, I have to be in hospital for a week. This is depressing. So I rang Martin, told my sister. She came in and brought some supplies for me. And so I just spent the day kind of, looking at white walls thinking, I can't believe I have to spend a week in here. Anyway, so what happened is they kept checking my blood pressure throughout the day, and then one of the doctors came in and said, right, we're inducing you tonight. And I thought, what? What happened to a week? I got my sister to pack for a week, and now you're inducing me tonight. So this is the next day. So this is Friday the 5th. So at 4 p.m. that afternoon, Martin had arrived by then. Oh no, he hadn't actually. That's right. I got the first gel. They came in and gave me this gel, which is meant to soften the cervix. So they gave me that, and I just kind of hung around because, nothing was happening. Although I was on the machine still, the CTG, so I couldn't do anything. Just waiting for people to arrive. Eventually, my friend Brendan texted me and said, do you want some company? And I was like, yep, sweet, that'll be cool. So he came along. Then Martin eventually arrived, and Stacey. By then, which was about 7 o'clock at night, I was getting some period type pain in my back. A lot of my labour was in my back, which is pretty nasty. And I could see the CTG showing my contractions. They were quite, they were there, but they were small, and I could feel them, but they weren't nasty. Like I said, period pain. Martin's mum then came to visit. We kind of watched 7 days, and then everyone went home. Martin, a recliner chair type thing was brought in for him to sleep on. Overnight, my contractions were getting stronger and stronger, and Martin stayed up with me as long as he could, but he eventually went to sleep, and I just kind of left him because I wanted him to be more awake for when the real big contractions started. So during the night, the nurse gave me like a heat pack type thing to put on my back, and I just tried to sleep. It really wasn't working though, because those contractions are starting to get quite bad. She eventually gave me some sort of sedative just so I could get some sleep, because the night before I hadn't had much sleep. This night I wasn't getting any sleep, so I was going to be exhausted by the time I was going to have to push this baby out. I just wouldn't have had the strength. So she gave me a sedative, but it didn't work. I was completely awake because the contractions were just getting too painful, and I just couldn't sleep. So anyway, the next morning finally arrived. That night just dragged on. It's awful when you can't do anything because it's nighttime and you're in pain, so you're waking up and you're sort of drifting off to sleep and you're waking up. It was awful. So next morning, which was quite early, 6:30 a.m, the doctor comes in and decides to break my waters. So they give me a vaginal examination, and which can I say was excruciatingly painful. It is the most painful thing I have ever felt in my life. And I was crying. I was crying from that because it was awful. So they broke my waters, and that's when my contractions started getting really strong. I was on the CTG again, and my contractions were going like this instead of just kind of little blips like that, like it was the day before. They were getting big waves. Eventually they were getting so strong that I decided, with a little bit of advice from my sister and Martin, that I could probably try the gas. Because I wasn't allowed to have a bath or anything like that because of needing to be hooked up to the machines. So I tried the gas. I'd been told that some women can't handle the gas, like it makes them feel sick, it makes them feel out of it and all that stuff. I didn't feel sick. It smelled like fly spray at the beginning, and I really disliked that. And at the start I wasn't sucking on it enough, and I could still feel my contractions really badly, and I thought this stuff isn't working until I got used to it. And then I was breathing it in well ahead of my contractions, because at the time like usually your contractions kind of build up like this, and you can feel them, and then you kind of hit a peak and they really hurt, and then they die off again. Well, at this point in time, it was a split second and it would be excruciating, and so I wouldn't have time to be sucking on the gas enough to reach a level that it would give me pain relief by the time I was hitting the peak of my contractions. So eventually I was just breathing it in, because I was like, you know, I'm not getting any time to know when these contractions are arriving. So being on the gas, it was a really weird experience. My ears were ringing a little bit, so that was odd. And I had to close my eyes because it made everything seem really distant and weird. So I just closed my eyes and I was concentrating on my breathing, and everything felt really distant. And my sister and Martin were talking, and I could hear them, but it was really distant and weird. And then as soon as I'd take it out of my mouth and I'd breathe in a few big gulps of oxygen, I'd just come back to earth. I could still feel my contractions, but the peak of them were a lot less painful. Eventually, I asked very, very nicely if I can have a bath, because I was told I wasn't allowed, but I asked anyway. And they were like, oh, okay, we'll let you have a 5-minute bath. At the time, I was the only patient in the whole delivery suite, so I could just pack up and go into another room that had a bath. It was wonderful. So I filled out the bath. I sat in there, had a few contractions in the bath. The warmth really helped. It was lovely. So when I have another baby, I'm definitely going to try for the whole water birth experience again, because the warm water was just wonderful. But I had to get out and get back on the machine. The doctors were discussing putting in a drip of some drug that really puts you into labour. I can't remember what it's called. Syntocin, something. And as soon as I heard that, I started to get a bit scared. And I was like, this, you know, my contractions are hurting right now. So imagine what it's going to be like when they start putting this drug through my veins. So when they suggested that, I was like, right away, that I'm going to have an epidural, because I've heard that drug's nasty. And the doctor the night before had suggested an epidural anyway to help with my blood pressure. So I actually can't remember if the drip was in or not, but it's complete blur. I don't know. But I did end up getting an epidural. I was sucking on the gas. I think it's called Entonox or something, the whole time. Like, I didn't even stop to breathe in any pure oxygen at all. I was just on that gas the whole time, and I was on the biggest, like, drug high ever. I can only explain it as like it was an out-of-body experience, because I had my eyes closed and I was bent over because they were doing the epidural on my back. And so I was just concentrating on my breathing, but I could hear everyone talking, but it was so echoey, and I felt really lightheaded, and I felt like I wasn't really alive. Like, my sister told me that I explained it to her that I felt like I'd been shot and I was dying, like slowly dying and kind of drifting into death. I don't know, but it was really peaceful, but weird. Like, I felt like I wasn't in my body. I don't even know. That doesn't sound nice, but it helped me with the pain anyway. So anyway, they got the epidural in. I had a few contractions while they were doing it, but I managed to stay still. And once the epidural started working, it was wonderful. And I slept a lot of the time after that, which was good because I was so tired. I had a few visitors throughout the day. And then, oh, that's right. I was about 4 centimetres, I think, when I had the epidural. Yeah, the rest of the day was just a complete blur. Most of the time between getting the gel and actually giving birth, in my mind, is like 5 minutes. Condensed into 5 minutes because it was just such a blur. The epidural, I think, started to wear off about midday, or didn't work as well midday, or something happened, because I could start to feel my contractions again, and they were quite bad, and but they sorted that out for me, and so I could feel pain again no longer, and that was great. Although the thing with the epidural is I could actually still move my legs, which was really